Welcome back. The city is looking for input to improve safety along a corridor in North Omaha. It's part of an ongoing study to develop a plan for Ames Avenue. First Alert 6, Philip Catafamo shares how you can help.
For almost a year, the city has been collecting feedback, traffic counts, and crash data along Ames Avenue from Florence Boulevard to 72nd Street.
We've completed a road safety analysis, and then as part of this alternative analysis that we're studying and collecting community feedback, we'll have something called the Planning and Environmental Linkages Study, which is a big federal document that we'll need to deliver at the end of it.
The Ames Avenue Safety Mobility Recovery Plan is funded by a $2 million grant awarded to Omaha in 2024 by the U.S. Department of Transportation. Public input collected last year spotlighted what neighbors have experienced for decades.
A high rate of speeding is an issue that's identified on Ames Avenue. Also, a high rate of serious injury, crashes, and fatalities along Ames Avenue. We know that pedestrians being so close to the travel lane has been a big issue, especially along the east side of Ames Avenue. Also, inconsistent lane widths. There are certainly a lot of challenges along Ames Avenue that we would like to address with our safety study.
City officials hosted a pop-up event at the North Omaha Transit Center to gauge what residents and business owners want to see to improve safety. Councilmember Lavanya Goodwin says there have been 102 accidents in the area, 6 of those being fatalities over the last 10 years.
We even recently just had a very critically injured person crossing on 31st and Ames Avenue just the other day. So I can't stress enough why we're talking today about how we all are a part of the solution.
Candy LaFleur owns LaFleur's Fashion near 24th and Decatur. She spoke at the event. While her business is not along the corridor, she wanted to express support for more safety in the area and remind people to be alert on the road.
Every person who leaves home deserves to return home safely. No appointment, no text message or destination is more important than human life.
Reporting in North Omaha, I'm Philip Catafamo, First Alert 6.
Now, once this study wraps up, the city will formulate a plan to improve safety in the corridor. It hopes to create a plan by the end of the year. And we have more information with this story on our website. Just head to firstalerts6.com.